This is our first property, and it's a mid-century traditional Japanese style house. And we got the idea, so I have a partner, Blake, and we got the idea to do this house because we were introduced by mutual friends. When he got back to Japan and I moved here for the first time, one of our friends said, you both have to meet each other. You both are always talking about doing a hospitality project and renovating properties. And we met in January of 2020.
The timing.
The perfect timing. And so we just kind of talked about ideas for a few months. And then later on in that year, we decided that we were ready to do something. We started looking at properties and we identified the Izu Peninsula as a place that we felt was just a really incredible place, given its proximity to Tokyo and just how much there is to do on the peninsula overall. We bought it in September of 2020 and we just started the process of renovating it throughout some really quiet times during the pandemic. But what that gave us was an opportunity to really kind of dig in and really learn, especially considering, each element that is in a traditional Japanese house, to make sure that we were really going to sort of honor the history of the house and the original vision of the builders, but then at the same time give it that little sort of contemporary upgrade and all of those comforts that you would want for a really kind of premium, luxury, comfortable stay, but still casual in the countryside.
What was the vibe you were looking for?
Oh, that's such a good question. I'm not sure that we had a particular house or vibe in mind. What we did start to see, though, was in all of these towns, just the tremendous sort of growth from the 60s through the 90s and just how much development there was in tourism and building. There's just some really beautiful properties that, are sort of from that growth bubble time in Japan and, kind of places that they don't really build the same way anymore. So we actually ended up just identifying sort of the area between Atami and Ito, just so that we could be able to have a place to go for the weekend that wouldn't be too far from Tokyo. When we found this house, we actually, it was the first house that really caught our eyes online. We did come down and look at quite a lot of other places, and we came to see this house. And as soon as we walked in, we knew that it should be our first home. The atmosphere, just the sort of the layout of the house, the bones of the house, and you could tell that it was built with such incredible craftsmanship and quality, and might even kind of be in the last era of houses being built in this really traditional way. The previous owner did spend a lot of time gardening, and I think she really just made sure. One of the things that she told us, and she gave us this beautiful stack of photographs throughout the seasons. One of the things that she told us was that she always wanted to make sure that there was something blooming outside. So no matter what season, there would be some sort of flower blooming. And so then you walk in, and I think my next favorite part about the house is the genkan, because it does have some really unusual mid-century. You can really tell it's a 1960s house. Some of the woodwork in the huge entryway is just very, very kind of typical of that era. So when you go through the genkan, I think the first place that you would naturally want to go is into the room that we're using as a dining space. And it's quite a small room. It's 4.5 mats, but we tried to really maximize the space in there. We figured out what's the largest round table. We asked our contractor to construct it fully custom for the space, so that we could fit 6 people easily around, and sometimes more if you want to have a big dinner party. And we found just some beautiful cushions as well, and some bold choices in the wallpaper. And we did something that's a little bit unorthodox, where we have a rug over the tatami. But that's one thing, that we wanted to bring into the house as well, is a little bit of us and our own experiences in traveling. So we do have some some pieces of art here, and some beautiful rugs from Turkey and Morocco that warm up the space a little bit. So it might be a little unusual to have a rug over the tatami, but it also just gives it such a warmth and comfort, and it's just a space that we spend so much time in. We wanted to just make it feel really cozy.
So tell us about the kitchen. I remember we had a chat about those amazing tiles in the kitchen.
Yes. So the kitchen is still in a sort of style that's representative of kitchens in the Showa era, with the stainless steel counter. We made just a really simple kitchen. We kept a lot of the original cabinetry, and then had a little bit more cabinetry built to accommodate a dishwasher and a very small oven and just those things. Cons. Yes, the things that give it that little contemporary upgrade, so that you feel it's a great kitchen to cook in. That's so many people have told us that they just love cooking in the kitchen. We have everything. The tiles, that was another really special moment where we found an incredible tile distributor, and he mostly has tiles from Tajimi, so a very famous area in Japan, where I think most of the tile that is made in Japan, I think 90% of it comes from this region.
Oh wow!
Yeah, from this one town, or this one area specifically. And we just covered the kitchen in that beautiful green tile, which we love so much.
Go with the green.
How
about the bathroom?
One of our favorite rooms in the whole house, and another reason why we really fell in love with this house. It's just a really large room with a large tub, and it definitely looks very different now. But what we wanted to do was, again, just use more beautiful tile from the Tajimi region, as well as this really beautiful stone that lines the interior of the bath, called Toa Daishi. And what that stone is known for is just having a little bit, it's very soft and comfortable to sit on, but also it's not slippery. So it's actually quite popular for using, and you might see it in onsen throughout all of Japan. But just, it's not slippery, but it feels really good. So we covered the walls in hinoki, and there was also just a huge window in the bath, but it was frosted glass because there was a little garden outside. But what we ended up doing is fencing in the little garden to give the bath itself its own private garden. And we just think that the way that the tiles and the stone and the hinoki, and then looking out into the garden. It's a small garden, but it's a lovely garden.
It's very Kyoto in that way. Just the tiny garden is all you need sometimes.
Exactly, yes. And just to have those moments of soaking, and again, finding that way of relaxing. And obviously, there's a huge bathing culture here. And so the idea of taking a bath at the end of the day to really relax, unwind, calm down.
Yeah. Let the day melt away.
Let the day melt away.
So let's maybe talk about this incredible, spacious, sleeping space.
Yes. So our two large washitsu, they're connected. It's really nice because you can kind of have them feel like they're one really large room, or separate it into two smaller rooms. So there's a 6-mat and an 8-mat room. And then on 3 sides, there's the beautiful fusuma. And I really love the pattern that we chose, because Izu has this wonderful temperate forest, but because of a lot of the volcanic, it's a volcanic peninsula.
Yeah.
So it has this kind of temperate tropical mix with evergreen and tropical plants as well. And it's just really lovely. And so we kind of have both of those elements represented as well. So we chose this really lovely pine pattern. It is really beautiful to sleep in here. Up to 6 people can stay, and we have the most wonderful cozy futons, and just the way that we've done the lighting. We have some Noguchi Akari lamps, and just turn on the lamp and cuddle in and read a book or sit around have a drink. It's also nice. We do have a rather large record collection, a lot of vintage records, and that was just another thing that we spent a lot of time doing during the quiet parts of the pandemic, was looking online and sometimes going to record shops and just going record shopping to bring some music into the house. A lot of music from the era that the house was built in. Mm-hmm. And we have a really nice turntable and speakers, and it's really fun to just sit around and have a glass of nihonshu and play records, chat with friends. Mm-hmm. This house did have one room that was in a Western style, so without tatami. And we considered just making it, just a really nice kind of more modern room. Mm. Though then we thought about the things that we like to do, and one of them is to sing. We just decided to turn another small room into a karaoke room.
It's amazing.
It's a lot of fun. We had a great time picking the records, and I think probably one of the most fun things was picking the furniture.
How about it? I could tell. You could tell just by looking in there. You had so much fun.
We were able to find some of the companies that, if you are a bar owner here or you own a karaoke business, it's actual karaoke furniture, and anyone can order it.
Amazing.
Anyone can order it. And so we just found some really fun materials and kind of took a risk and made it really bright and pop and pink. There's some really gorgeous vintage wallpaper, which kind of reminds us a little bit of a kind of 70s California vibe. And then, of course, the record collection on the wall, and figuring out how to do that in a way that really complemented sort of, there are some beams on the ceiling, and we wanted the way that we hung the records to kind of echo the woodwork that was already there. There are these hand-carved cross beams on the ceiling, and we really love that space. And the funny thing about it is that even though it is, mostly a nighttime space or a fun karaoke space, we also hang out there in the daytime, and it's a nice place to drink your coffee or tea or take a meeting and have someone ask you, where are you? That's a question that we get a lot.
That's the perk of working remotely, when you can call in from a place like that.
Right. And we've been so thrilled to be able to spend enough time here, with us, having this house for our own private use, and then with some guests who are coming to stay for longer periods of time. And I think that that's a really beautiful and unexpected outcome of the pandemic, where people are traveling in a way that is slower, and finding a place to really dig into and getting off of the well-tread paths of tourism in Japan, and finding a town to commit to. And we have, we've had some guests who are staying for a week, a month.
Wow.
And really choosing to encounter life in Japan in a way that I think was less common a few years ago. And so we hope that is something, that's what the house has given us, is that way to encounter Japan outside of the cities and outside of the well-tread tourism paths, even as a domestic tourist here.
Yeah.
But just so grateful that people are choosing to come and spend their time in Ito.
Yeah.